The way I found my way into physical medicine was through being an athlete. It turns out if you hurt yourself a couple times, you see a couple doctors and you get interested in this sort of thing. What really inspired me to start the Competitive Edge Clinic is the idea of incorporating healthcare as people are developing.
I've been competing in gymnastics for the past 11 years. I've qualified for levels 4 through 10, and I have won state and regional championships on the pommel horse.
As a parent, when I try and find a medical care provider for my child, I look for someone that I can communicate with, that makes sense to me, that doesn't talk past me. So the couple times I've seen Isaiah receive treatment from Dr. Nash, he's been able to talk me through it so I can understand.
My biggest challenge has been I usually have chronic pain in my hips and in my hamstrings, and going to the Competitive Edge Clinic has helped me recuperate from those injuries faster and eliminate them altogether.
One of the things that's great about Competitive Edge is that Dr. Nash has a relationship with all the coaches. He's here in the gym, he can see the athletes train, he can also see the coaches, so he can tailor things specifically to what's going on in any given week with the athlete. So about 2 years ago, we were at a meet in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And Isaiah had been fighting off a bit of a hip issue. He was getting ready for his session of competition, and this thing was just bugging him to the point where he couldn't really run that well.
I had family at this meet, so I wanted to compete for them. And I made it about halfway through the meet, and then my leg kind of just gave up.
We looked down, and he was kind of had this look on his face like something wasn't right.
I was there, and I happened to have some of my gear with me, so basically he's getting ready for this competition, and we lay him down on a mat somewhere, and we just start working on his leg to make sure he can run.
The next thing you know, Isaiah's competing again. He finished the meet, and it would not have been possible if Dr. Nash wasn't able to work on him right there on the spot.
My goal is to make it to a national championship, and Dr. Nash is helping me achieve this by helping me stay healthy so that I can actually train.
The very first time I met Dr. Nash and the Competitive Edge Clinic, he raised my confidence as a teacher through the roof.
The Competitive Edge Clinic has been a great asset to our winter program.
One of my first days involved with the golf team that Dale Edwards runs is I stopped by the Irish Golf Academy, and while we were there, Dale had 8 to 12 kids that were swinging on this golf simulator, and there was this one guy, and he starts swinging, and we're watching him, and I'm like, there's something up with this kid's foot.
On his backswing, his right foot would kick out, which means roll over to the outside.
So I take this kid and we tape his foot in a specific way, and then he steps back up to the golf simulator and he starts swinging again.
It changed his whole ability to stay stable during the golf swing.
All we had to do was mobilize the way his foot was moving.
I would recommend the Competitive Edge Clinic to help your athletes stay safe.
The goal with Competitive Edge is to, one, help these kids who are already suffering through potential issues, and two, you start teaching the coaches. So if the coaches know what to look for, then they start assessing these kids a little bit. They're like, hey, this looks a little funny, maybe we should start checking this out before it becomes an issue.
The greatest advantage of working with the Competitive Edge Clinic is keeping our kids from hurting themselves.